Hello and welcome everyone to AQ Adaptive Intelligence's Thinking Thursdays. Tonight we have a very amazing and talented guest, and the topic of today is enjoying newfound freedom. So our special guest today is SAVANNAH LEONA, and she's a world traveler, and she's been to quite a few places. She is a coach in many things, some of which are healing, fitness, and crypto. So she's also a crypto investor. She's like I mentioned, traveler, but she's also quite a thrill seeker. She's a lover of all puppies and all dogs, and she's also a model. She comes originally from Canada, but she has since moved to Whiter Sands, both figuratively and literally, to Mexico in Playa del Carmen. Today's topic is enjoying newfound freedom, and she's going to let you know how you can find new freedom and how you can enjoy it to the fullest. And without further ado, I will be bringing you SAVANNAH LEONA.
Hello, guys. What a great little presentation. I actually took a video of it because I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. So thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I am really happy to be on the call. I think everything happens in divine timing, and I am truly, truly grateful to be here right now and to just be meeting and connecting with all of you.
What about you, SAVANNAH? Tell us what started your journey. I know you love freedom. I know you love to just go out there and explore and just go on adventures. How did that start?
So great question. So it all started, I was a personal trainer, and I did that for like 7 years in Ottawa, Canada. And I worked for some really, really great gyms, but the gym owners could never keep up with my creativity. I would always want to be, coming together with new programs or new ideas, and it would just take forever. So I actually got into neuro-linguistic programming, which is reprogramming the mind and all of our limiting beliefs. And I really, really fell in love with coaching. So I went and started my own business in Ottawa. I put $30,000 of my own savings into it. I really, really believed in it. And after a year, I was burnt out. I gained 35 pounds. I felt like a fraud of a personal trainer. I wasn't happy at all. After, I pretty much felt like I hit rock bottom. I went from making really good money as a trainer and as a coach, but I was working for other people. And then I was like, yeah, I can work for myself. I can do this. And then I started working for myself, and I forgot that someone needs to run the business. Someone needs to do the marketing. Someone needs to do all the stuff I'm not good at. So that's how I just gained a lot of weight. And then I knew that there was something really big missing. I've always been spiritual, but I came across a shaman. Again, it was like divine timing. Right. And I went to see the shaman. I have no idea what he did to me. He put me into a trance. I just remember bawling my eyes out. And I woke up and I knew exactly what I needed to do, which was get rid of my business. And it was really crazy how fast things happened after that. Within 1 week time, I had someone come to my business studio and ask me if they could take over my rent. And then a week later, my stepdad, my ex-stepdad, who I hadn't talked to for over 10 years, contacts me and says, hey, I see you're a personal trainer. I know we haven't talked and we kind of left on bad terms, but is there any way I could buy your equipment off of you? So everything just kept happening so fast. Within like 2 weeks, I got rid of my business. So in our mind, we can create stories. We can create all these what ifs and, it's going to take so long and, it's going to be so hard. But once we align to our higher self, to our soul, whatever label we want to use, we can literally create magic. We can create miracles. So
yes, we do.
Yeah. And so I went to see the shaman again, and I said, okay, I don't know what you did, but I need more. I need more of whatever you did. And so we put me into another trance, and I got up from it, and I was really lucky. He said, I don't know what it is about you, but I want you to take my shamanism course, which is a very expensive course. And then I got my mom into the course with me. So she completed the 2 years.
Way to go, Mom.
Yeah. And I only did a year of it. But throughout that time, I was transitioning so fast. That's when I knew I wanted to travel the world. And I just said, I want to leave all my material possessions behind, which sounds crazy to people. But I got rid of everything. And I literally have been traveling living out of 2 suitcases for 3 years.
Yeah,
And
I had a similar experience as well. I'll tell that
really,
later. But yeah,
yeah,
please go on.
you can jump in. I don't know how you want to do this call, if it's more
Oh,
of like a podcast style
yeah,
or.
yeah, it's like podcast style.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, I had a similar like experience with giving away all my stuff. I was in a situation where I wanted to make a shift, like a radical shift, and like get rid of a lot of my physical belongings. So one day I just put an ad on Craigslist and said, "Hey everyone, if you want my stuff, come and get it." And I was like, I got hundreds of replies, hundreds and hundreds. And literally, I was like the most popular guy that day, like ever. People were just like hauling off my stuff, like, "Thanks, man."
Like
But like
so
after that,
happy.
but during that moment, I had such an intense feeling of freedom because now I could travel. Now I could do all the things that I wanted to do. And I'm sure you felt that as well.
Definitely. And we have to remember that every single materialistic thing that we have, it could be giving us something, but oftentimes it's actually taking our energy. If it's not giving us energy, it's taking our energy. And so all the clothes in my closet was actually taking my energy. It was a mess all the time. Or, you know, so we have to look at the bigger picture and really ask ourselves, what do I want? Like, and it's not being selfish. It's just really connecting with yourself and realizing that this is your path and no one else can tell you what you're meant to do but yourself. So when I told my mom that I wanted to go travel, and my grandma at the time, and they thought I was crazy. Like, they're like, "You're a woman. It's so dangerous to go to all these countries. Like, this is, you can get kidnapped. This could happen, that could happen," right? And obviously you have to be like, have some wits about you and be cautious and, you know, look around, like just street smart.
Right.
But it completely changed my life. And I definitely did take a big hit in my income, but it already happened with the business. I did kind of like a flip. So I went from making really, really the most money I've ever made to, with the business, making no money, to saying, okay, I'm going to travel with basically no money. I literally started traveling with probably like $2,000 in my bank account. So,
Wow.
and I didn't even have a job at the time. Like I was in a network at Isogenics, which is like a supplement company selling like health products, but that's very volatile, right?
It is.
So only about 8-9 months into my traveling, and so I was just surviving somehow. That's when I started teaching English online, and it was just to fund my travels, basically.
Right.
But anyone, that's very easy. You know, if people did want to do that, it's a little side gig that that I did for about a year and a half. Actually, I taught Chinese kids, and just for a couple hours a day, you know, and it paid my travels. So I really lived like a minimalist. You know, I used to have a Jeep back home and a really nice apartment downtown Ottawa, and I was fine staying in hostels, and not all the time because I'm a super light sleeper, which I've
right, yeah, yeah.
But for the most part, I could live in like a little beach hut, and just the experience of it and the people I would meet, it was completely life changing.
What is your favorite memory from all your travels, if you had to pick one, or maybe two?
I have a really good story that, and it's maybe not my favorite memory per se, but it's one of my favorite stories to tell. And
yeah,
it was when I was in Thailand, and I booked a trip to go to Vietnam. And you have to get a visa for Vietnam, and you just order it online, super easy. But I got the wrong visa. I got scammed. So it was only scammed for like $30. But the fact is, I got to the airport and I was ready to get on that flight to Vietnam. And they looked at the visa and they said, "This isn't the right visa." And I said, "Oh my God." I said, "Okay, I'll order another one." They said, "No, it takes 24 hours. And then I was like, "Oh my God, well, I can't stay in Thailand. I've reached my limit." And they said, "Well, like, you can't get on this plane." And so they told me to go over to the booth to book another flight. And I went over and I said, "Okay, where is the closest country to me right now?" And they said, Cambodia. And I was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to go to Cambodia."
Oh my God.
I never wanted to go to Cambodia for some reason.
Right.
But I said, "Book me a flight to Cambodia." And I was on the flight and I had to message my mom saying, "I'm not going to Vietnam. I'm on my flight to Cambodia." And she was like, "What the hell?"
It's like, what
And
got into her?
yeah, and I showed up in Cambodia, and the worst part is I showed up there and I landed at 12 a.m. and I didn't have anything booked, no Airbnb. I didn't know
Oh
where I
no.
was, and I had just exchanged money for Vietnam, so I didn't even have money exchanged for
Oh
Cambodia,
no.
and I had to rely on strangers to give me money for a taxi.
Wow.
Yeah, so you have to think quick on your feet when you put
Yeah.
yourself out there, and that's what I love about traveling alone, especially, is
Hmm.
that you don't have a choice. You have to think quick on your feet and also relax, because if you start panicking, that stress gate goes off in your brain and you can't think straight, right? You literally all your creativity goes out the door when we're stressed. And
Yeah.
that's what I think is happening with the world right now, right? They're stressing everyone, like with the global pandemic, stress, stress, stress. No one can think clearly, and everyone, they become very small, right? So when we
Exactly.
relax and we connect, then we can see all the possibilities, and all the creativity just comes to us on where we should go next. Where's our path?
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that, like traveling really forces you to be present, to be aware, and
Mm-hmm.
it does sharpen your mind. That's why I love to
Mm-hmm.
travel myself. Like it keeps me sharp, it keeps me observant. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us more about like what did you do after you got to Cambodia, and like what were some of the other stories that like you love to tell?
Yeah. So I ended up staying in Cambodia for a month, and I
Uh huh.
traveled around the country. So again, I wasn't planning on being there, and then I ended up staying there for a full month, and I stayed in some of the most beautiful places for like $10 to $15 a night, like
Whoa.
unbelievable. Yeah, and just working online. I was really to myself then, because I was actually sick with a cold. Because I'll admit, when I went to Thailand, I was there. I met a couple of friends, and there's a lot of places in Thailand that are very partyish.
Yeah.
So I did let that side come out of me a little bit, and I think I might have drank some bad ice cubes or something, and
Oh
I
no.
got really really sick. So I was actually like recovering from that and healing myself in Cambodia. But the most amazing thing too is I've been to parts of Europe that I never would have thought I could afford to go, but because I
Huh.
started traveling, I just said I can do it. I can do it. I could figure it
Right.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you set your mind to, you can accomplish.
Exactly, exactly.
So,
But yeah,
but
I
that's
have.
that's quite a feat, though. Like, I mean, with less than $2,000 to basically like travel the world. Like, how many countries did you go to?
I've been to 13.
13,
Yeah,
and
and
and under
Mexico is
two
the
grand.
longest. Yeah, yeah. Well, for the first, like I would say 8 months or so, I lived off like about 2 grand, and then the odds and ends of like some money coming in. But I was on a really big budget, so I did have a bit of money coming in from Isogenics. But until I started teaching, then I started getting a little bit more of a consistent cash flow.
Right.
Yeah, and then yeah, and there's so many stories. So
Yeah, and what I love too is like, so you're totally like about freedom. I love freedom too, and you found a way to do that. And on a budget, like
yeah,
that's pretty impressive. Like, most people think no, that's impossible, but you made it possible. You made it
exactly.
possible. You had that strength, that will, that fortitude. So, what are some of the things that you've done besides just that, like meaning like the little coaching that you did on the side? What are some of the other things that helped you achieve even more freedom in your life? Because I know you're living pretty well now in Playa del Carmen. It's
Yeah.
pretty nice. I'm actually here myself, everyone, in Playa del Carmen, and it's pretty nice. If you guys ever want to go to Mexico, hit me up, hit her up. We'll hook you up.
Yeah,
But it's nice. It's
it
nice.
is. It's got a really good vibe, and I think it's near the ocean, and it's close to the city and the ocean. The archaeological sites are really close. There's supposedly the pyramids here are facing or pointing towards certain stars. It's very
Mm,
like a spiritual place.
it
Um,
is.
but to be honest, the teaching floated me for most of my traveling over the years, just up until I would say September of 2020. And I was introduced to a medical device, and I had a call with
Oh,
Gabriel a couple months
yeah.
ago about it. Um, and it's a frequency therapy. So my friend from Australia, who I went and visited, he introduced me, and I used this device for a couple weeks and wanted to like really believe in it first before I started marketing it and actually helping people with it. And then
Right.
that actually took over as some of my bread and butter. And so selling those devices to practitioners or to just average people who wanted to heal themselves with different, like, whether it's depression or I can't say this is going to heal you, right? We have to be compliant with our words, but it really is quite amazing what frequencies and vibrations can do. Just things we weren't taught when we were young, that these things could help give your cells ATP, more energy, help you harmonize your energy fields, your auras, your chakras. If people know, sometimes it could be too woo-woo for some people to talk about that stuff, but it really is. It's a new technology. It's not new, but it's from Europe mainly, and it's finally made its way to North America now. So it's still a startup company, still challenges with a startup, you know, working with a startup, but that's taken over, and I let the teaching go because when I moved to Mexico, I was teaching at like 5 a.m, and I'm just not quite a morning person yet.
Right. Yeah, me neither. I'm a late night person myself.
Yeah, I'm a night owl. So.
Oh, good. That's good.
Yeah.
So you did that for a while, and then, I mean, you still use your Healy device.
I do.
So she went from teaching English to then being a healer. And then now you also do crypto, I understand, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like, I've always seen myself as a bit of a healer. I don't really like to use that label. You know, it's maybe just someone that helps people and with different like healing modalities, but because I was in the health arena for so long and then took the shamanism course, but I put all that on the back burner and just did something kind of that didn't require a lot of energy besides like being really enthusiastic in front of the Chinese kids. But then like all of us, there's only so much we change, right? We're allowed to change. We might still stick to something that will never change because it's so a part of us. But I let that go. The healing came in. I've been doing that, but then crypto came into my life too.
It's hard to let go of crypto.
Yeah. And now again, like once your mind opens to one thing, it's like when you open a door and then you start to see all the other doors. So I wasn't open to crypto. Like, you know, Gabriel was talking to me about this for so long and different things that he was doing. My brain was still shut for whatever reason. It just wasn't ready to open that switch. And then I'll be honest, the reason why it got into my energy field was the guy that I introduced the Healy to, which is this small medical device. He introduced me to the Healy. So we connected on such a spiritual level. And then he told me about it. And so, and I mean, that's definitely what happens with everyone. Like you connect on a deeper level and then finally open your mind, right, to them. And maybe Gabriel and I just didn't have enough about it, right? My mind's open to crypto now and it's just exploding. Like, I can't believe that I've been missing out on this world for the last year or however long we've known each other.
Yeah, there's so much to learn.
There's so much to learn. And I think everyone can see that the world is going cashless. People are, there's a lot of places, businesses that don't even accept cash anymore. So it's just a time for me that I want to learn about this new currency that's starting to evolve, you know? So now I'm making a little bit of income with that. That's kind of funding my freedom lifestyle, which is I can just pack up my bags if I want and go somewhere else if I really wanted, you know, but I am in a place where I'm 34 now. I do want to kind of gain a little bit of roots instead of like hopping around from so many places.
But you still retain the option to move or not, you know, which is good.
Exactly. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And I'm a goal in my life is to always just keep traveling, you know, even if I'm like super old and I just like, you know, always have like a home base, of course, but then like always travel. Yeah. Because like that's the stuff of life, you know. It's like that's the spice of life. It's to travel, to see new things, to see new ideas, meet new people. Because that is what keeps you sharp. Because if nothing ever changes in your life, then your neurology just starts to deteriorate. Yeah. And so does your life. Yeah. But if you can do the things that juice you, the things that pump you up, then you're gonna go full speed ahead and make your dreams a reality. So that's some of the things that I talk about often in a lot of our talks. And you know, the whole point of all of AQ, adaptive intelligence, is to help you develop your adaptive intelligence, meaning not just your IQ, not just your EQ, but how well can you adapt in a new situation, in something that's totally unfamiliar, and are you willing and able to get yourself out of the box. Bring yourself out of the box and experience life beyond the little box that you've been living in, right? Because it's a huge world. It's a huge world, and you know that as a traveler yourself.
Yeah.
It's a massive world.
Yeah.
And every little journey, every little bump in the road, like, you know, that can be enjoyed, that can be experienced, and that can be lived to the fullest.
And that's why I see traveling is freedom, right? Like
Yes.
I kind of see them like hand in hand. And for people who might be scared to travel alone, I'm a huge ambassador, because once you do a little bit, even if you do a small road trip by yourself, like a couple hours away from your hometown, right? And you have fun by yourself, and you force yourself to talk to some new people, or whatever it is, you force yourself to go do a new activity that you haven't done, you are going to gain more confidence from it. You're going to gain some sort of skill or some knowledge from it. And every single time you do it, I believe you connect more to your true self, because you're not stuck in your habitual patterns of everyday living, of everyday stress about the bills or your relationships. Or so it's so, and I mean, if you can do it with a partner, that's even great too. But I still think even if you travel with a partner, you still need the alone experiences to.
Absolutely. Actually, speaking of that, I know like Tim Burton, he's married to Bellatrix Lestrange. Anyways, they were married, and so it's funny because he owns his house, but then either he bought her or she bought her own house right next door.
That's
so it's
amazing.
Like they're married, but they have their own separate house, which is kind of cool. Like, and it kind of helps. It kind of helps you because, like, especially like in a relationship, you do need that time apart. Because if you don't have that, then you don't have the chance to like miss them. You know, you don't miss them, and like you don't look forward to seeing them again because they're just always there.
Yes,
you know, it's kind of like
so natural.
There's just somebody sleeping. Yeah, it becomes like a roommate. You know, it's like when you're with a roommate, you see them less somehow. You know, but like if you can maintain like a healthy distance, but then always come together, it's like bam, sparks are flying every time.
Exactly, and especially when you take that time alone, that's when you can really do your alone things. Like maybe you want to be journaling more, maybe you want to write, or maybe you want to start something, right? Like if you're constantly around that person, you can be influenced by them. So unless you have like the exact same goals and aspirations and like, you know, then there really needs to be time apart. But at the same time, I'm single right now. So for people who have been together a long time, they have a secret that I don't know about yet.
Right? Yeah.
So,
when we get to the discussion part, we'll ask my parents. They seem to have figured it out.
I was just thinking that.
and I know Jeff's been married for a while. You can probably throw his 2 cents in as well.
I
don't know if anybody else here is married or not. Yeah. But so anyway, so what are some other tips, tricks, or just suggestions that you have for people that are maybe like on the fence, like they've always wanted to travel, like they want to live their life differently, but you know they have like those fears that they're still holding on to, which by the way, your fears are actually stored within your neurology. So there's ways to access that directly, liberate that fear, and now that fear becomes courage, and the courage becomes a gift. But what are some things that you did to overcome that initial fear of, you know, going for it?
So I do believe that it was a bit of both of the neuro-linguistic programming, the course that I took to help reprogram some of my own mind, to really make me realize that a lot of the things that all of my actions, my day-to-day things, the way I'm thinking is actually because of traumas from my childhood. Most of them are from traumas from our childhood, and that's why we're reacting a certain way, or we have certain emotions about certain things. So I really had to make a conscious effort to reprogram some of my mind first. But then I really do believe most of us are missing out on the spiritual aspect of tapping into the energy within us that sometimes can't be explained in words. Like you just cannot explain it in words. And it's rewriting some of that neurology that you were talking about. So because I saw a shaman, something happened to me on a deeper level in my cells, in my DNA, where I woke up and I didn't have that belief anymore that I couldn't sell all my things, right? It was like I knew what I wanted to do. I let the thought go. I didn't know how it was going to happen, and then it just happened. So that is such a huge part. We make things so complicated because our mind is so busy at thinking. We're not balancing it out with the spiritual side, which is Maybe it's a guided meditation. Maybe it is seeing a shaman. Maybe it is working on your frequencies, listening to sound frequencies to help harmonize your energy. And maybe you're going to have a new thought or a new creative way of doing something. So that's my biggest thing, is that because I went and I worked with a shaman for a year, and then I also had my mom helping me a lot too, because we were working on the same traumas. You know, we all have different traumas, but because I had someone close to me that we were working on the same things, it helped a lot. So I had her support when I said I want to get rid of everything and go travel, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. I sound crazy. I don't have enough money in the bank. I don't have this. I don't have that. But I did have some support. So it really, I probably would have done it without her support because I had worked on myself so much. But if I hadn't done those steps, I don't think I would have had the courage to do it and to know in my brain that I was going to do it for a long time. You know, most people will go travel for 3 months, 6 months or whatever, but I just knew that I was meant to be a traveler for the next 3 to 4 or 5 years before I would like settle down and have land, or which I don't have yet, right? I don't know how it's going to happen, but that's
okay. Keep getting crypto. You'll have enough.
Yeah, exactly.
And way to go on. She recently convinced her mom finally to come and move down to Mexico. Tell us a little bit about that.
So this is an amazing story. So during COVID, my mom just retired after she's 64. She's worked for the city of Ottawa for like 34 years, dedicated her whole life to that as a single mom raising me, and retired. And she was living in Ottawa, and COVID happened when I was in Mexico. So I was actually dating a guy across the country from where we're from. So I went to Vancouver Island, which is like one of the most beautiful places in Canada. If anyone's going to go to Canada, go to Vancouver Island. And because I went there, it opened my eyes to, oh my God, this place is beautiful. Because in my mind, even after traveling, I thought it was too expensive to live there for myself. But until I went there, so sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? That's the biggest life lesson, I think, is, so I just went there and I ended up, you know, it didn't work out with him. So I ended up getting my own place in Victoria, which is such a beautiful city. And it opened my eyes to, oh my God, I can live here. So during COVID, I convinced my mom to sell all of her things, to live free, like a free spirit. And it took her a lot of guts. It took her a lot of work, literally selling everything online. I helped her. And I actually flew across Canada to meet her to help sell some things. She flew back to my place before she found a place. I drove my Jeep back across Canada. It took me 12 days to drive it across the country. So that was another cool experience that I did on my own, and got there. But then 1 month after my mom and I being together, again, after all my travels, I said, Mom, don't kill me, but I got to go to Mexico. And this is back in October. And so she goes, are you crazy? Like, you don't know, it's COVID, this and that. Like, who knows what could happen? Like all these what ifs, right? What ifs. And I said, Mom, I'm listening to my soul. Something in me is pulling me there. I don't know why, but I need to go back. And so I did. 1 month of us being together, I came back. I felt bad, of course. because now she's on Vancouver Island alone, right? And I just convinced her.
No. You left her marooned on an island.
Yeah, but she was way better off there than in Ottawa, Canada, where things were really bad, lockdown, everything.
Yeah, I hear things are pretty crazy in Canada. But I've had the opportunity to meet lots of Canadians here, and they tell me nightmare stories.
Exactly.
But it sounds like, the smart ones are able to say, you know what, these things here are just not my vibe anymore. Like they're just not jiving with me. Time to go for whiter beaches per se. So does she like it here? Like what did she say about it?
So to finish that story really quick, I worked my magic again. It's all about thinking and then manifesting that, okay, I can make this happen. And so we worked out a deal with the person that she was living in a basement apartment with her landlord. I worked out a deal with the landlord to keep the rest of the stuff we had. So we sold almost everything, both of us, different times.
Wow.
But we still had 5 bins of stuff each, right? Like of clothes and things that you're not ready to part with just yet.
Right.
But I convinced him to leave our stuff there because he has a big house. And so I said, Mom, things are getting weird in Canada. Just come to Mexico. You're 64. Come enjoy your retirement. I'm 10 minutes from the beach. And she was so worried, guys. Like she's not used to this kind of just leave everything behind. And so if she can do it, anyone can do it. She left Canada, and she actually only she was supposed to come end of February. And then Justin Trudeau, our prime minister, gave all Canadians 2 days notice that he was closing the borders on Canadians to sunny destinations, which is the craziest thing to me. So
you can go to the bad destinations, but not the sunny ones.
You can go to the shitty destinations, but don't go have fun in the sun. Yeah, no sun destinations. He actually said that in an article. And my mom had 12 hours to make a decision. She was either going to stay in Canada, stay on Vancouver alone for the next 3 months, or who knows how long, or book a flight, get your stuff packed up, and you're coming the next morning. And she did. So
wow. Wise choice.
Very. And she's so happy to be here. Like she's so relaxed. Like and just being together again, right? It's really important. Family is really important. And I don't have a big family. I have aunts and uncles, and it's just always been my mom and I. So I'm really, really grateful.
Uh-huh. Well, you're doing something right when you can inspire and influence your parents.
Yes.
Because that's difficult.
Yes.
I know my parents will agree.
Yes.
It's difficult to do.
Yeah, because they grew up with, I don't want to say programming because it's kind of a negative connotation to it, but they just grew up with more of the news, more like our generation really does have a knack for screw the 9 to 5, break away from the matrix, like we grew up with more of the technology.
Exactly.
We believe more about it, right? And that's okay, right? Our grandparents, they grew up in that time, and they're so it's just a natural evolution that our kids, if we have kids, they're going to obviously be way more advanced with technology than we will be. And that's just the way it is.
They'll be like, Mom, you still use a cell phone? I just think, and my thoughts go to people using my neural.
Yeah, I know.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're using dinosaur technology.
Exactly. They lose it and they walk outside and they find one because they just manifested it easier,
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So of all your different destinations that you've been to, because you've been to many, other than this one, because it seems like you have a particular leaning towards this one.
I know. Yeah.
What is your second most favorite?
I really I did love Thailand when I was by myself, interestingly enough, because it was just so quiet and it was very cheap there too, to live like a queen or a king. It was just hard. Like my stomach didn't seem to like a lot of the food in Thailand.
Interesting.
But I loved the beauty of it. But I would say my other favorite place would be Spain and Portugal. So those two were unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I actually convinced my
I
mom.
know my dad's gonna.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I convinced
Oh,
my
my
mom
dad's gonna go on a tangent. I know he's gonna.
about
I know
Spain.
my dad's gonna love hearing about Spain. Yeah,
Oh
he's
yeah,
thinking of moving there himself.
really? Yeah, Spain. And I lived just 2 months in Malaga. I didn't travel around too much because I was working a lot teaching, but I just got a vibe of the culture, like just people dancing and listening to Latin music, and they love their food, the amazing food in Spain. And I drove my bike around everywhere. I had
Yeah.
my music with me, and yeah, so Spain and Portugal too. Portugal was amazing.
Out of curiosity, have you explored any of like the museums and such in like Spain, like particularly Madrid?
You know what? I'm not that much of a museum person.
Oh,
My
okay,
mom
okay.
dragged me to the museum in Paris, and that's a very,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, and I like didn't even want to go. But that's like one of the top museums of the world. And for some reason, I don't know what it is with
Whoa.
museums. I'm more of an archaeological site though, like more outside. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I'm more nature. I want to be outside rather than in.
Likewise, likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only like structure that I want to see like when I go to Madrid is something called the Crystal Palace. If you
Yeah.
guys don't know what that is, it's basically like this building and it's made out of all glass, and for some reason the glass is see-through, so it becomes a prism. And so when the sunlight comes through it, there's just rainbows everywhere. So that's why they call it the Crystal Palace. It's just
Wow.
this beautiful thing that you just walk into and just rainbows everywhere.
I
So
bet the energy
I
there is.
do want to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That I will see. That I will see.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm a nature lover too. I know my parents are too, and I'm sure he's going to talk a lot about his favorites. So any last parting words of wisdom or anything you'd like to share before we go ahead and do the open discussion?
Yeah, one thing I'll just add is, and I'm really starting to realize even in my life now, is realizing that all the bad things that are happening, all the bad things that we see as bad, they're actually blessings in disguise, like every single one of them. And so it's really
Yes.
about changing our
Yes.
perspective on, if we wake up and I can get really grumpy if I don't have good sleep, right? But then, like this,
Understandable. I'm the same way.
yeah. And this morning, I changed it around and I said, you know what? I just learned so many lessons from that bad night's sleep. And I won't go into the lessons, but it's all about changing our perspective. And like another quick story about traveling, my first country I went to was Bali. And I showed up in Indonesia.
Ooh.
And I had plans on staying there for a few months, but the volcano erupted 2 weeks into it. And
Oh
I
my
was
God.
so scared. I had all these thoughts in my head that the lava was going to come and kill me, or we
Oh
would
my
get
God.
smoked out. Like we could see the ashes like all around us.
Yeah.
And I
Whoa.
was so mad for like the first week. Like I left, I took off to Malaysia, and I was so mad. And I almost ruined the first week of being in Malaysia because I was mad about that. But looking back, it's like realizing that everything is linked and we are literally on the right path. Like we are exactly where we're meant to be, as long as we're constantly flipping that switch, that perspective of going, oh my God, like
Yes.
what's the most amazing thing I can take away from that right now? And so when we get on our deathbed, when we're ready to, when the time has come for us, we can look back and go, oh my God, I'm so happy because everything was supposed to happen the way it was, rather than looking back and go, oh, look at like all the bad things. Like we've already programmed ourselves along the way, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because like I was supposed to go to the Philippines in March and found out that if you're not from the Philippines, you're not allowed to go. So I was super bummed out because I was gonna go with a couple of friends of mine. Like they know a bunch of people there, and like they're like, yeah, we'll take you to all the best spots, and you're gonna love it. And I wanted to check out this one spot called the Chocolate Mountains. I believe it's in an island called Bohol. It just like if you look at the pictures, it just looks like little Hershey's Kisses, like all spread out all along the land. There's these huge mountains. It looks like chocolate. That's why they call it Chocolate Mountains.
Crazy.
But I wanted to do that. Still want to do that. I want to go. The beaches look amazing, and I just want to be able to keep exploring. So instead of going to the Philippines this time around, came to Mexico, and I'll be exploring more. So I think I'm going to go ahead and let you close for us, and then we'll go ahead and open up the open discussion.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks again for everyone who jumped on and for listening, just sharing this time together right now. And I'd really like to get to know everyone on the call too, because I always believe we're connecting for a reason. Like, there's a reason why you guys are on the call right now. There's a reason why I'm on the call. And there's a reason for everything. And I believe everything happens for a reason. So when we can look at those small reasons of why they happened and just like relax, then we allow so much more abundance and so much more love and so much more amazing things to happen, where life becomes magical, like life becomes more fun. I think we're all too serious. A lot of us are just living too seriously and like hustle, like I need to check this off, I need this to do, I need that to do, rather than just like enjoying the fact that you're alive, you're breathing, and that you really do have freedom, even if you don't feel like it. You really do.
You have freedom. You just have to claim it. It's there for you. Just go for it. Just go for it. You only have one life to live. Live it to the fullest.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for your energy, and thank you so much for your wisdom. I will go ahead and end the video, and we're going to move into the discussion part.
Well, that was interesting. I've often thought about traveling, but I'm kind of reluctant to travel too much because of the carbon footprint it takes to travel.
Well, you do have 2 feet. You can leave footprints without the carbon part.
Yeah, well, that's true, but it takes a long time to go anywhere. If you're going to travel across the country, if you're going to travel around the world on your own 2 feet, it's going to be quite a process, especially as you get older.
Mm-hmm. I have met people that have done it.
68 years old, and he actually has ridden his bike across the country multiple times. So it can be done.
Talking about footprints, when we traveled through the Alps, I saw these crazy Italians and some Germans going up the Alps on bicycles. You know, I was polluting the atmosphere, but they were just pedaling, up to 9,000 feet. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. It looked like they were having fun.
Yeah, you see crazy things when you're traveling too. You're like,
but we kind of polluted the earth. Well, in 1 month, we drove 7,000 miles.
Wow.
If to make Les feel a little bit better, their cars are usually tiny. So, they just pollute less.
Yeah. That's why we need electric.
There you go. Just get a tiny car. Or actually better yet, Les, you actually have an electric bike, and it's actually really nice.
I've got 2 electric bikes.
And he does ride his bike. But yeah, maybe you should a bit farther. Yeah, there you go.
Well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to explore the world online. You can go to visit countries all over the place, and you can have discussions with people all over the world if you want to, although the language barrier is sometimes problematic.
Les, I have a virtual reality system that you can travel anywhere in the world virtually. If you're interested in coming over and hanging out with it, when this pandemic gets a little bit more easy, you can come explore any country anywhere. It's pretty neat.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean that's where the future is. I think. I think the establishment wants to keep people from traveling very much.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually good. It's good for our environment not to spend huge amounts of energy traveling around, especially when we're using fossil fuels to do it. But I mean, even electricity.
Yeah, but then it's also you don't get to see the world. Ideally, we should just have solar panels everywhere and fusion reactors, and then have electric vehicles that can fly everywhere. Thank you, Elon. Let's get there. If you're listening to this, Elon, it was my idea.
Well, I'll make it a little bit easier. We already have technology. We already have technology to use hydrogen. It's just that some people don't want us to use hydrogen. There is no pollution with hydrogen.
That's a good point.
You just pump water in your tank and you're done. Some people are going to be crying, because they're going to be losing a lot of money.
there's a lot of energy inefficiency if you're going to break water into hydrogen and oxygen. It takes a lot of electrical energy.
Not if you apply frequency to it. You can do it with a minimal amount of energy, and you break down the hydrogen in a way that you wouldn't believe it. But that's another thing.
Yeah.
You need to break down the resin. What you need to do at the resin frequency of water, and then it breaks extremely easily. But
correct. And the guy that came up with
different things that get in the water change the resin frequency of it. Even the altitude or the air pressure changes the frequency of it. And that's why it's kind of tricky to do it as a resin frequency. It would have to be a closed environment. And that's pretty tricky. I looked into this, actually.
Okay, well, the guy that came up with that concept that actually built his own vehicle and all that ended up getting killed.
Yep, that's the problem with it. Oil has a lot to take the small guys out. Anyways, that's a whole nother topic.
So one thing that I'm going to agree with SAVANNAH, Spain is, I spent like 30 minutes, when was it, 2 days ago, yesterday, talking to Gabriel about Spain and Portugal. And I said, Portuguese people are very friendly. Even I still like Spain a whole lot better just because it's a bigger country, has more resources, it's beautiful. Especially the northern region of Spain, where you have the ocean on one side and the mountains in the other, and you drive on the coast, and food is excellent, and their lifestyle is just nice.
Yes.
So that is, if I had to move somewhere, that would be the place.
And do you want to move there like permanently or just?
If I had to move.
Yeah.
I would just go to Girona and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the north, but it's kind of overcast and, rainy. It's a beautiful spot up north. But at Girona, there is only, like Girona, I mean, whichever way you want to say it,
Tomato.
In Spanish, it would be Girona. And Girona is only like 1 hour away north from Barcelona and an hour south from the border with France. And the place is just beautiful. And you have the mountains very close to Girona. So if you want to go to the mountains, it's just beautiful.
I know. And it feels different. That's the thing. It feels different, right? When you're in another country, you almost feel more, I feel more alive or something.
It's always fun to discover, how people live in other places, especially when you visit the countryside and not so much the big cities. I tend to run away from the cities,
Yeah.
That is the reason why I kind of enjoy southern Spain, driving through the Mediterranean, all the way down to Portugal. But I didn't like it as much as the north because they have so much tourism on the Mediterranean that it takes away from the true experience of living among the Spaniards, the true Spaniards. That's how the people in the north call themselves. They are the true Spaniards, because they were not overtaken by other cultures, and so they are very proud of their heritage. And we were lucky enough to experience all that. And the other place that I really, really enjoy a lot was driving from Switzerland to northern Italy through the Alps.
Wow.
And to go to Dolomites. Everybody talks about the Alps. The Alps are beautiful. There is something special about the Alps. But the Dolomites are out of this world because of the energy that very good energy that the Dolomites have. I guess it has something to do with the Dolomite, the stone that has a high content of crystal material,
is it quartz? Is it quartz crystal?
Yeah, quartz. I think that quartz makes a big portion.
Yeah, quartz is very electromagnetic.
We drove through some spots in Italy where the energy was very bad. Up to the point that we wanted to cry and we didn't know why, and we both traveling one way and then going back using the same highway. We were driving back, and I go like, we must be in the same spot because I'm feeling awful. And she said the same thing. Actually, we watched a show on TV called Huron. That is a show from Italy, and I felt the same creepy sensation. And I go like, where is this place? I had to Google it. And there it was in the area that we didn't like.
Oh my
You
God.
know, there are some places with bad energy, some places with good energy. If you haven't been in the Dolomites, I will highly, recommend that place.
That's so amazing that you were aware enough to realize. Whoa,
Yeah.
the energy.
Actually, when we went to Mexico a few years ago, I think that was 2018, I felt very, very good in Tulum. I mean, the energy feel in Tulum is very good. Chichen Itza was fine, but Tulum was special.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, and you guys went to Playa del Carmen too.
yes, and then there were some spots like the cenotes. You know, I happened to go to one of them and I jumped in the water. Let me tell you, I was at that moment, my empathy was way up, like I couldn't protect myself. I was just crying. I came out of the water in like less than a minute and I had to go. I just picked up my stuff and I walked away.
Wow, it was so strong.
I talked to a friend of mine and he said, well, you're very empathic, but you survived that spot, and he said, you know that you used to do like human sacrifices. So you jump in that same hole there and you were swimming for a minute. You shouldn't have done that, because I did have an experience. I was dead for half a minute. That was like opening Pandora's box and I became very empathic. And so I, for a year and a half, I had a lot of problems dealing with that, because I couldn't shut it down.
Wow.
Yeah.
But there's some cenotes that are supposed to be very good energy though, right? Like maybe just like the one that you had.
Maybe not the one that I went to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because that's actually really interesting. I haven't heard that before. I just had it in my mind that cenotes were like this beautiful energy, and so that's really interesting. Do you remember which cenote? Probably not, but do you remember what it was?
I don't remember the name. I know that it was a very popular destination for tourists, for tour companies.
Yeah.
It was pretty huge. It was well developed, with tunnels, to go down to the cenote. They had like plants growing and coming down. It was very deep too. And but I don't remember the name. Maybe if I
Was it in Tulum? It was in Tulum or close to?
No, actually, it was in the way back from Chichen Itza.
Okay.
Probably not in Tulum. In Tulum, I had a great time.
Interesting.
I even went to the beach that they have down there, and it was amazing. Good energy. But the place that had even better energy was the Dolomites. Take my word for it. They're special.
For those of you who haven't been in the loop, one of these days I'm actually inviting somebody who had their own like death experience, not just near death, but actual death experience. And he died for at least 6 hours. It must be like a world record or something.
Wow.
We'll be interviewing him in the coming weeks. So be posted for that. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see the dead man talking.
Yeah, he said that, when he finally was able to come back to like just this place, he woke up and he saw like the little tag on his foot that said deceased. And he's like, take that thing off. And they were all freaking out because like, this guy was dead for 6 hours. But yeah. But no, like he saw like heaven and like all these things. Like, yeah, it's going to be a great talk. I heard the whole story and it's beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So I'm super excited about that one.
My friend Tom had a glimpse of heaven too, because he has his death experience. And he said the same thing, that it was beautiful.
Yeah.
He said you wouldn't believe it. He tried to describe it a little bit, but there are no words for it. I just had a little glimpse, like 30 seconds. Have a taste of this.
Kind of like, yeah.
I think eventually we will all see it, more or less. In the meantime, I think that we have a purpose in this earth. And it's great when you can accomplish the purpose that you were created for.
Yeah, most people don't know what it is, and it's sometimes so simple. I think, right? We make it so complicated, like what our purpose is, but it could be so simple.
Yeah, life should be simple always. It's more fun that way.
Yeah.
Jeff, how are you enjoying the hot tub? It looks good.
It's wonderful. This is the best meeting I had since we started.
Well, there you go.
I'm going to make this a regular thing. I think I'm going to be in the hot tub from now on every time.
There you go.
Yep.
You can be our hot tub guy.
There
Like, the weather in California is perfect for a hot tub, as always.
Oh, except for the real hot summertime.
Yeah, except for the summer. Well, and then you just don't turn on the heat. You just get in the water.
Actually, in the summertime, I actually turn the heat down till it's like a pool.
You know,
okay,
you can still use a jacuzzi. Just throw some ice cubes there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Go to the gas station and get one of those huge bags of ice.
You could even like keep freezing that bag and just keep dunking it in every time, you know?
No, it's got a thermostat on it. I can turn it down all the way to 60 degrees in this hot tub. So I can do it any temperature I want.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Huh. Wow, that's a nifty hot tub there. Is it a time machine too?
Dude, you said you wouldn't say anything about that.
Oh, sorry. It slipped.
Well, actually, Gabriel, I did have a question for you.
Yeah.
I wanted to, first of all, say thank you for finding another awesome person to come over here and educate us and teach us. But also, I really wanted to know is where the heck did you find your twin? You guys sound so much alike. There's so much about that is so much in common. It's crazy. I mean,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
It's quite remarkable. And, you know, the funny thing is that the things that I love about Gabriel and the insights and the way his mind works, I also see working in you too. And it's quite beautiful that, to me, it's interesting how like-minded people attract like-minded people. And that's why it's so important that we hang out with the right people, because the wrong people can bring bad mind frames and change the way things happen in your life. My son's going through that. He has a friend he just got that is from a bad part of the neighborhood, from the thuggy part, and his whole life has been swirling out of control because of this. So it's so important to have people and surround yourself with people, like with groups like this. This is just absolutely inspirational to me. Gabriel, you have been an absolute advocate for putting this together. You have solely done it by yourself, except for some help from Les with video and stuff. But you're finding these people, you're interviewing them, you're talking. And I just want to say to Les, to our guest, to Gabriel, well done, brother. Well done. I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you. And actually, there's
I deserve. I'm just gonna say that.
Jeff, because
Jeff.
Because you are my adopted son, I'm going to tell you that before Savannah started talking, I told my mother-in-law, these two are very close alike. Maybe they can be brothers and sisters. I don't know, but they are exactly the same.
We were separated at birth. Or something like that.
Maybe there are soulmates.
Wow.
I imagine.
Actually, I wanted to bring something up because you mentioned something, Jeff. You said, you know, it's important to surround yourself with good people. I learned that lesson from a good guy, Tony Robbins, and I have his book right here. I brought it with me all the way from California to Mexico. And he basically says, you know, you are the sum of the top 5 people you hang around with. So all you guys, thank you. You guys helped all this come together. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate and love all of you.
See, that's probably the reason why you're such an amazing person now, Gabriel, is because you've been hanging out with me so much.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is. Thank you, Jeff. I owe it all to you.
No, I owe it all to you, brother. Actually, Savannah, you told me earlier you're going to meet up with Gabe. If you get a chance, let him do some of his healing on you. He is amazing at it. Seriously, I was in a wheelchair before he was helping me. My arm was numb, just some crazy things. I cannot be a big enough advocate for what he's done and how he's helped me. I just cannot. I could seriously monopolize the next hour to tell you about it. Just if you get a chance, please trust him. It's an amazing process. Let him work with you.
Totally. Even after meeting you guys, it's just, you know, it's another perspective how I see him now too. So it's really special.
Oh,
good.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Can I do good? Do I get paid?
Yeah. I can give you a cut later.
There you go. It's affiliate marketing.
All right. The only thing to say though is if you guys get along really well, you got to send them back to me in a couple months. You can't keep them.
We'll see about that.
I want my brother back. Back. I don't come back with him.
Who knows?
Let me tell you this. Gabriel loves what he does. That's why he's good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And God give him that gift to help people with his hands. Mm-hmm. That is what he does the best. So try it. Do like Jeff says. Try it. And trust me, he's going to.
We just need to get a massage table. That's all. And then I can do my magic. And for all your friends, I'd like to meet your friends, Savannah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they would love that. Yeah.
I see really a dresser behind you. You can just put a blanket on top of it, and that can be your table. Get creative, man. Whatever the world gives you.
Dresser. I don't think that's a dresser. It's just like
the other way.
Yeah, that's not a dresser.
Oh,
other way? Oh, that's a table.
There.
That's a table.
Yeah.
That's like bolted to the ground. It'd be hard to carry that one around.
I don't mean
No, like when I come to do my healing retreat, I'll definitely bring my tables. And so that's one of the things I need to scout out. And I think you do too. You need to scout out locations, don't you, Savannah, for your events that you're doing?
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about still.
Yeah. So that's on my top of my to-do list.
Have you guys considered doing a healing retreat together?
Yeah, we've talked about it.
There's so much I feel like we need to talk about still. And I was just telling him the other day yesterday, that I'm looking for resorts right now. I have this business opportunity that I'm looking into, and it would actually partner so well with him. So it's interesting how things align, when businesses are open. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's like I helped you get into crypto, and like you helped teach me about the Healy. So like, that's pretty cool,
No, and we both exactly. And like back what Jeff said, it's when you're around the right people, you're just going to attract more of the right people with really good energy. Like Jeff, I can tell he's like he could put a smile and make everyone laugh. Like that's huge, right? Like
only if I get enough sleep.
Sleep is good. Always get sleep.
Gabriel, actually, we were arguing a couple of weeks ago before you left, and I realized what it was. And this goes on to the same thing you were just saying, Savannah, is that I was watching a TV program that was full of drama, and I was binging watching it for like 2 weeks. And I stopped watching 3 days ago, and all of a sudden it feels like God came back in my life, and like it's Christmas time or something, and there's just all this joy and happiness. I'm sleeping better. I'm not arguing with my wife, and just everything is lined up now. And so, garbage in, garbage out to watch, because Gabriel, I know a lot of drama between me and you, and I know I hurt our relationship a little bit, but you graciously forgave me, and I love you, brother. But yeah, so that's definitely important. Pay attention.
Yeah, thank you for being vulnerable.
Yeah, and just for having that awareness too. Like sometimes we're not aware in the moment, and so it's just so beautiful when it finally comes to your awareness for you to be able to express it and like surrender to. You're like, oh wow, I was in a bit of a rabbit hole there, getting sucked in.
That's a very good point. Yeah,
I agree with Jeff. Garbage in, garbage out. We react to our surroundings and everything. Like music and. Like, for example, yesterday, after like a few months that, I decided to play, some music from a band that I like, and they play reggae. The name of the band is Christafari. I don't know if you guys ever heard that name, and they have a good vibe, and I woke up in the middle of the night with their song in my head, and it was so cool. It was fun. So,
crazy.
Now, I see that there are some people in incognito, and I wonder what they are thinking. Maybe
you guys need to come out. Join us. The party's here. Welcome.
It's like I'm in my pajamas, or I got bad hair day, or like.
John is ready. John is ready.
Yeah, John is always ready.
No, thank you. No, I appreciate your presentation. There are a number of themes that I thought resonated with me a bit and were valuable. One was living simply. I'm a little bit about that. Also, that there are reasons why things happen. As I've mentioned before, right? The natural world's a bit chaotic, which means there's always things happening and things are changing. And there's prospect for good things, if you're a bit of an optimist. But I'm a big believer in kind of small changes, and then also the fact that you do have control over a lot of things. If you are a victim oftentimes, or at least when I'm feeling as a victim, which isn't very often, it's kind of my own doing, right? So it's a matter of perspective. So,
yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for always being the voice of wisdom, John.
Yeah, well.
Very. Too.
I mean, they're simple things, but they kind of, they're tools that you can use to kind of work your way around and navigate situations. And you do seek out people that are in alignment, people that are common thinking. Sometimes it's good to seek out people that are a bit different as well. Sometimes, so it's kind of a mix and a balance of different that keeps it interesting. So anyway,
yeah, and that's why I started AQ. It's like, we're all trying to grow together. We're all trying to like make our lives better. But when we grow ourselves, we make the world better, and we make it better for everybody else too. It's not just us, right? Like a gift is meant to be given. So when you receive happiness, give happiness, right?
Yeah.
And realize that like you have everything that you already need. You just have to bring it out of yourself, right? So, seek your own authority, challenge yourself, and grow. And then you'll just live an amazing life. Honestly, that's my one and only secret, is kind of like the Nike commercials. Just do it. Just do it.
And the more we make ourselves happy, it sounds kind of selfish. It sounds selfish, but it's really not. It's the more we make the more we make ourselves happy, it's like by default, we're giving that energy off to others, right? Like whether it's you're cracking jokes or you have healing hands or whatever it is, like you're by default sending out the energy to everyone, to the universe.
I can share something and that goes with what you said. The worst time in my life, I think that it was when after my heart stopped and I ended up in the hospital, and I eventually, after a few days, I came out of the hospital. Then everything in my body started to work like we are, had many things that were not working properly. So the list was very long. At that moment, I was very unhappy. What was the worst part for me was that by being me unhappy, I could I was sensing that I was making everybody else around me, all my family, miserable, because I couldn't help myself. And it hurt to me that it was affecting them too. So it took me a while to get out of that state. Eventually I got out of it. Being able to be happy is not just good for you, it's good for the people that are around you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's important to be able to snap yourself out of like a bad situation whenever you're in it. I like that Savannah mentioned in her story that she spent time with a shaman. That's why I actually just met, or I'm about to meet a shaman. I spoke to him on the phone, but I met a shaman, and he's willing to work with us with AQ to have on the very last day of our healing retreat, to go out to his healing center and receive some of his shamanic work as well. So that's reserved for the very last day. So if you guys have never experienced it, I highly suggest you come. Some of the plant medicines he uses is psilocybin, ayahuasca is a big one, and he has a bunch of different things. So like he's the expert on shamanism. I'm gonna let him be the expert on that. I'll be the expert in what I do, and then I'll have other healers there as well that all specialize in what they're good at. Like Savannah, she can do the healing. So I'm just collecting all this talent together in this one space and creating the field, like this field of positivity that we're all in right now, and just expanding that into our lives, into the lives of those who are around us as well. So does anyone have any other questions for Savannah? And you can go ahead and speak freely, Savannah.
Actually, I do.
Yeah.
I was curious what that vibrational healing thing, Thule, that you're doing is about. What is that about? Can you tell me?
Yeah, for sure. So it comes from a company named Time Waver, and they've been around for over 15 years in Europe. And they were using these massive machines, and they would have the clients come to their offices because the machines were so heavy. And then they get their clients to hold 2 different rods, and they would be able to scan their bioenergetic field. It would come up with the biggest discrepancies in their body, telling them what their body needs the most. And then they could program the machine, putting microcurrent frequencies into their body, or by them holding it. And you can actually feel the microcurrent frequencies. And it's been healing people for the last 15 years with like all kinds of crazy things that you wouldn't believe, even animals. And so then they went and they created this small version. It's like the first wearable version. You can take it with you anywhere. And I kind of explain it like just like the phones, or just like computers were massive when they first came out, right? Or remember TVs when we were little kids? TVs were like these big boxes on the floor. And then now they were able to make them really sleek and really,
Now they're this big.
Exactly. This is really a computer now, right? And so people don't really know how it works, but we know it works because we use it and we get a benefit from it, right? So it's the same idea as that. I don't really know how it works, but I know it works because it's working for me. But I also believe that a lot of this comes with your intention. So if you don't believe something's going to work, then chances are it's not going to work. Like if I don't believe my phone's going to work, I'm going to come up with reasons why it's not working right now, why I can't make a phone call, or why it's too confusing, right? So it's the same idea. This little thing, it's still in its early stages. Just like the iPhone when it came out, right? There's many years ahead where it's going to look a lot better and, maybe smaller, I'm not sure. But basically, this little device can send you microcurrent frequencies into your body. You can place different patches around your body. You can wear the little ear things, and it could help with concentration, depression, all kinds of things. So there's like 120 programs to choose from, just depending on what your intuition tells you need, or what the scan tells you need. So it's pretty, like when I went through my breakup, all my scanning was telling me that I need emotional well-being and emotional mental balance, because I was like all over the place. And it actually helped a lot, but I also believed that it was going to help me. So
Right. Yeah, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Exactly. There's always that placebo, no matter what.
In the power of your mind. And so any tool that helps focus that power of your mind is very important to me. Could you tell me a little bit more about your experience and how it helped?
The device itself specifically?
Yeah.
So I guess the power, so for example, instead of waking up in the morning and scrolling Instagram or scrolling Facebook or looking at maybe old pictures, I would now have a new focus. So that's what it's done for me. I've put my focus into this thing every single morning, which we could all do by ourselves just naturally, whether it's doing a little ceremony or staging or just meditating, connecting to a higher vibration music. Like there's different ways you can do it without a device, right? But this has helped me because I like tangible things. A lot of people like tangible, show me it, let me feel it. So it connected me in a way where I scanned myself every single day. I looked at my chakras and it focused me in. And so every day I was like getting obsessed with this thing. I still am using it multiple times a day, and it just reconnects me to myself, I guess. Mm-hmm. So it's reprogramming the mind. By using a physical thing, it helps a lot of people to have that physical thing.
Yeah, that's actually that same principle is in a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And he basically talks about what he called autosuggestion, but it's basically reprogramming your mind, reprogramming your neurology and having it serve you instead of you being a slave to it. So any tool that helps with that, I'm all for.
You were talking about a device that you sell earlier. Is it that one?
Yeah, this is the one. Yeah. So I've been doing scans on people and just doing frequency sessions on people. So you can do it that way. And then you can also sell the device to practitioners or people who maybe they have like a really big problem and they've tried everything. So they say, and they can try this out and try frequency therapy. So, and a lot of practitioners add it to their clinic. They can be doing a massage on them, or they can be doing chiropractic, and they could also be running a frequency on them at the same time, or a vibration on them at the same time.
Yeah, would you be willing, Savannah, to for anyone that's here in this group, or anybody that hears us on YouTube or social media or wherever it may be, if they just say AQ to you, are you willing to show them how it works and run them a scan or something like that?
Yeah, like if you guys are up for it, we could do a group call like this, or just a couple of us, and I can show you. I can share my phone screen with you, and I can show you what it looks like with the scan, and it gets to the roots. It really brings up some trauma that we've been dealing with, or maybe that we've never been able to expose. It brings it up for us in the scan as well, so it connects us on a lot deeper levels. And then because I'm not with you in person, so Gabriel, once we meet in person, I can definitely do an actual full session.
Yeah. I did an online one like this before.
Yeah,
cool.
and exactly. So I could do an open scan on someone and see if they're open to it, see what it pulls up for them, and we can discuss it. We can go deeper into that stuff. But the other 50%, the bread and butter, I think, is the microcurrent, which is like get it hooked up to your body.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we are energetic beings after all, you know?
Yeah.
that is what we are. Everything is energy. E equals MC squared. That's all it is, just energy.
Yeah. The one thing I learned from high school.
Right? The most important thing.
How much does that tool cost?
There's 4 models. The model that I have that can do all the scanning and all the diagnostics, and it can do things through long distance. This one's $2,500, but it's a one-time fee, and you have it for life. And then there's the 3 other models. They start at $500, then $750, and then I believe the third one is like $1,200, and they just don't have the scanning features. They just have less frequencies to offer you.
How does that thing actually scan?
Yeah, that's where it gets into a little bit of the scientific stuff that it's really hard for me to explain.
No, I mean physically. Do you have to hold it to you, or do you use a different device to scan?
Well, so if I'm doing it through distance, it can actually, I put in your information into the phone. So I actually put in your picture, where you're from, your birth date, and your hometown. I get some information. And then this is where it gets a little bit woo-woo for some people, but it's as if time and space, it's as if you were here with me right now. So it's sending out a vibration and picking up on your energy field, and it's giving us a feedback through the scan, and it's telling us where you need the most care in your body, in your mind, and your soul. Where could you benefit from the most vibrations or frequencies? And then if you were with me, we would just hook you up, right? But yeah, I always have trouble explaining like how the scanning actually works. There's a quantum sensor inside of it, and it somehow, with these scientists and these inventors, they base it off of like over 15 years of work and of their clients, and they put together a database, so it can pick up general things, but it can also pick up things like, for example, I grew up without a dad. And so one of my first scans I did was like, I feel lack of love from a father. So that's pretty bang on, right? So it can get really deep into some stuff that I've done scanning on all my friends, and it never said anything about that. Like, it said other stuff that I've never even heard of before. Like, one of my friends who lives in the building, she's been traveling for like 7 years, and it said in her scan that she feels homeless, and she almost started crying. So it triggered her in a way that she didn't realize, and she's like, you know what, a part of me does. And we had this whole deep discussion about that, which we would have never even gone into if I didn't do a scan on her. It's pretty interesting.
I will tell you this, that I as foo-foo and weird as it sounds, I know that energies can go past distance. Distance doesn't matter to energies. And I'll tell you, I have a boat, and I sleep out on the boats a lot of times, and I'll be up there for a couple of weeks sometimes, and I'll just get this overwhelming urge that my wife needs me. And I'll call her, and she goes, how'd you know I needed you? I just got this really bad news, and it's like, this has happened countless times. And I've always believed that love is the carrier of that frequency. Yes. And it's very much there. And also I'm a twin brother. And when I was little, my twin brother and I had a connection that would surpass time and space. Mm-hmm. And I totally believe that it's possible. And I would like to do a session with you. So how do we hook up with you to do that?
Yeah, let's exchange contact information. Maybe Gabriel can just set us up through whatever, Facebook or Telegram or...
Absolutely. Do you have like a tag on Instagram that people can find you, Savannah?
Yeah. Do you want to just set them up with my Instagram name, which is actually Savannah Leona? You're on Instagram, Jeff?
I'm not. I do better with cell phones. Do you get your cell phone?
Yeah, let me just grab. Do you have Telegram or WhatsApp or Facebook?
Yeah, let's not do it on the recording.
Yeah. Or everyone else.
But what I'll do is I'll when I release this video on YouTube and to social media, I'm going to include her website on the description. So for anybody listening out there, you'll have access to that. For those of you who are here, if you just text me or message me, I'll also send you that as well. And you can also find her on Facebook. Just look up SAVANNAH LEONA. She's the one with the girl that's at the beach, obviously. If that's still your profile picture.
It is.
So yeah, I'll hook you guys up, and of course I'll help you guys out. So don't worry about that. I got you.
Can I throw something in the mix?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. We were talking about scanning and remote. Gabriel, you know my friend Tom.
Yep.
We are in South Carolina. He lives in Pennsylvania, way up north for us. He was actually, I met him when I was doing very bad 3 years ago. One of the gifts that he has is that he can help people. So he was scanning me remotely with a picture, and and then we talk a little bit. So he was scanning me. Also, amazingly, he was sending some type of energy to me that I had a lack of it because I was vibrating very low, like very, very low. He told me, you have to bring your vibe up because it's not good to be in that state. And he said, I'm going to help you in any way I can. Remember this, you have to figure out how to bring your vibe up because otherwise you're going to go back to the same place, like always in that vicious cycle, low vibration. The few times that he interceded and did a scan on me and sent me energy, I felt the difference. I felt the difference remotely being here in South Carolina while he was up in Pennsylvania. Then 1 year because I was having problems, that I would just go back to the same low vibe after a while, and he would help me again. And finally he said, I think that we have to meet because I can only do so much being at a distance. And we met. He actually drove 1,000 miles to do hands-on healing for me, right? Wow. And it was amazing. I mean, I had like visions that you wouldn't believe it. Wow. And I was not alone. Somebody else in the house had the same visions too. Being in a different room, different location, we both had the same experience. So there is something that sometimes we don't understand. We have energy. If we learn how to manage and improve our energy, that will make a great difference in our life. I'm talking about remote healing. When I traveled to Mexico, he was not aware of that. He came to visit us. And then when he left, the day after he left South Carolina, he was driving back to Pennsylvania. We catch the flight to Mexico to go visit Playa del Carmen, right? And he was trying to, because he knew that I was not doing very well, he was trying to do a reading on me, and he didn't know that I was traveling. Jose, where are you? And I say, well, where were you? And I say, well, we traveled to Mexico for a few days, and we just came back. He goes, dude, next time you do that, please let me know, because I tapped on you to try to help you, and I found myself 40,000 feet up in the air, and it was a long way down. So please let me know next time you catch a plane.
Oh my God.
So yeah, there is something that, we cannot understand, but
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And many minds won't understand that, but the ones who have been working with energy or who are open to it, we're going to understand more what you just said. Like, that's a fascinating.
Actually, we went to a Reiki class once, and you probably recall that. And one of the things that they were teaching us is how to feel the other person's energy. And so we were in separate parts of that building, and we closed our eyes and we start walking towards each other. I only like walked 2 steps, and I could feel his energy right there, and he could feel mine, I think. Like we were like far out, and so that's very interesting. Actually, my friend, when he was here and Gabriel was at home, he came up with a few rods to check on the energy field around you. And amazingly, for everybody, was a little bit different. My vibration was very low. So he had to get within like 3 or 4 feet from me for those rods to just cross. And he goes, okay, so your energy field ends right here. So it's very small. He did it on Gabriel, and it was like, I don't know, like 12 feet, 10 feet.
So far?
way far out, you know. So that was very interesting too.
Yeah, that was interesting too. I was surprised myself. He was using a dowsing rod, if anyone knows what that is. I'm still not familiar with how it works, but I'm assuming it's something electromagnetic. But yeah, I was impressed by that too myself.
Wow, that's so cool that your parents are into this stuff too, because so is my mom. And I don't know what I would do if I couldn't talk to her about this stuff.
Yeah, it'd be very difficult if not.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, I'm pretty blessed because I got friends and a wife. April, come say hi to the group. I want you guys to meet my wife.
Hello.
There she is. Oh, there's too much light in her eye. I'm blinding her.
Yeah,
but anyways.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. She's not too much into being on video, so I'm not going to put her on the video too much, but I just wanted to introduce my wife to them. I'm really proud. She's like my trophy wife. I really scored on this one. She's gorgeous.
Aww, that's amazing. Bonus points for you, Jeff.
Scored. Yeah, you should meet my if you ever meet my ex-wife, then you'll realize you know, I traded up. You know, what I like to tell people.
You just lost points now.
No. This will gain me points. You got to hear this. Okay, so my first wife was my appetizer wife, who, you know, kind of got me ready for the meal. She's my entree wife, the one that really fulfills me and gives me life. But one day when she dies, if she dies first, I get my dessert wife. So, but it's a race. But it's a race because she's had an ex-husband. I'm her second, and if I die first, she gets her dessert husband. So it's kind of a race. So it's kind of a little game.
I'll never forget that.
So that's why people in couples, they live longer. Now you know everyone.
That's the reason why we don't want to die, is we want to win. We have a reason to fight here. No, but seriously, all kidding aside, this woman is absolutely the love of my life. 100% fully invested in her. We've been through so much crap together. We've been through war together, not even with each other, but with others. And she's still here. She knows the deepest, darkest secrets that I have, my biggest skeletons, and she still loves me. I cannot believe a woman would do that. So, in my opinion, I cannot speak the highest enough about her. I love her. She is my best friend, my comforter, my compassion. I love her to bits. So, thanks for letting me introduce her, guys.
That's amazing.
You're welcome. Thanks for bringing her. Actually, I wanted to see what my parents' perspective was, because you guys were talking about relationship stuff before, and I said we'd get to it later. You guys wanna? I
was going to say goodbye. I'm going to take a shower and sleep. Tomorrow I wake up early.
Just say 2 minutes. Say something. What do you think?
She's very lucky that she met me. It really means that she's just speechless.
Yes, I don't have words for it. No, he's my blueprints. You know.
So for those of you who don't know what that means, that's basically like knight in shining armor, or like the white knight. But Hispanic culture is blue for some reason.
I am Leona. He's Shrek.
There you go.
Nice.
Well, you like to travel, Savannah. So, you know, Gabriel, you say you like to travel. I like to travel too, especially to, you know, wild destinations away from civilization, because to be honest, museums kind of are boring for me. Now, if I go to a cave with like
rupestres,
how you say rupestres, like
cave painters.
Yeah, with cave, like paints that are like, you know, thousands like years old, and so I'm more attracted to that, and also to natural wonders. You know, I enjoy traveling, so you know, I like journeys like that, and life is a journey. And if you find the right person to pursue that journey with, that's a blessing. It's hard to find the right person sometimes.
He's the lucky.
Yeah, he is the lucky one.
Well, I felt very lucky a few years back when I wasn't doing very well, and she was standing next to me all the time, and I could feel the support. And I mean, my children were there too, but the wife was a big part of it. And I can, like you say, from a bad thing, sometimes we can get good things. So what I thought that it was bad to me, what was happening to me, I was questioning, why does it happen? You know, why now? Why this? Why that? Friend of mine told me, you know, that was a blessing for you. I go like, how this guy can tell me that was a blessing when my heart stopped and, you know, my body started to collapse and, you know, I was having so many problems. He tells me that it's a blessing. You know, he's crazy. Well, I can tell you now after a few years that he was right, because it did change me a little bit. So I think that it changed me for better.
Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah, he used to get very agitated and anxious all the time. I guess he kind of had like a existential crisis type of situation.
Rock bottom, yeah.
Yeah. Everybody hits rock bottom, and that was definitely his rock bottom, I believe. But he's grown with tremendous colors. I've given him healing as well. He's found his place with something higher, and I'm super proud of him.
Well, there's a saying, anything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yes, you're right.
And you know, many times we can get good things out of bad things. Like, you know, all this COVID thing, you know, it's very depressing or very sad that so many people are dying and all that. But I'm sure that we can, if we try, we can get something good out of it. That can make us kind of change the way that we perceive life, give importance to certain things that normally we wouldn't, prior to this, we wouldn't do. Family, health, you name it. You know, we can like get something good out of all this if we try.
Look at what happened back when Isaac Newton fled because of the Black Plague. He went into reclusion for like 3 years or something, and then he came up with the best scientific paper ever written. What are the consequences of our whole world going into seclusion? I don't know.
Like this, AQ is born.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you again to everyone who showed up tonight.
Bye.
Bye, and
bye. Nice meeting you.
The same. Bye. Sorry.
That's okay. We're wrapping up.